They do this even at the supermarket, and you don't realize it. What drives a narcissist to manipulate even in the most mundane situations, like a seemingly innocent supermarket? And how many subtle dynamics slip by unnoticed every day? Take a moment to ask yourself, what signs might you have underestimated? The truth is that a hidden narcissist never stops, even in the most trivial circumstances. And every behavior, every seemingly insignificant signal, actually conceals a manipulative intent. In this video, I will reveal how to recognize the signs of a narcissist and unmask them even when they wear their best disguise. You're not here just to gather information. Here on Chosen One's Awakening, we don't just talk about narcissism. We discuss how to truly break free from it. This is the channel for solutions because knowing is not enough. What matters is taking action, protecting yourself, and finally choosing your inner freedom. Stay with us until the end to uncover the hidden signs of narcissistic manipulation. Learn how to identify a manipulative narcissist, even in the smallest gestures, and how to avoid falling into their invisible traps again. If you don't feel ready to choose yourself and step out of the game of narcissistic manipulation, don't subscribe to Chosen One's Awakening, because it would be pointless to know, to recognize the narcissistic signs, to unmask the narcissist, and then remain stagnant without choosing to protect your life. This is the channel for those who truly want to change, not for those who listen out of curiosity. The first sign, need for attention even in unexpected places. Have you ever noticed how certain people seem incapable of going unnoticed, even in the most mundane places? The narcissist, even at the supermarket, can't help but draw attention to himself. It doesn't matter if it's choosing a product or simply waiting in line. He'll always find a way to take center stage. Why does he do it? Because for the narcissist, every moment is a stage, and every glance is a confirmation of his worth. This constant need to be seen reveals the hunger for validation that hides behind his facade. This is where one of the most subtle and least recognized signs comes into play. The exaggeration of seemingly normal behaviors, charged with an energy that seems out of place. Perhaps you too, without realizing it, have found yourself or witnessed one of these scenes. Someone raising their voice while choosing a product as if everything revolved around them. Or someone who treats the checkout staff condescendingly. I invite you to observe carefully. What small signs might you have missed so far? This is precisely how narcissism camouflages itself, with apparent normality, but underlying toxic dynamics. And that's why recognizing these hidden signs is the first step to definitively unmasking the narcissist. The second sign, attitude of superiority and underestimation of others. Have you ever had the feeling that someone, even without saying anything explicit, was looking down on you? Pathological narcissists can communicate their superiority even in the simplest gestures, such as choosing a product or interacting with supermarket staff. They often do so through a look, a mocking smile, or a barely there, venomous comment. But the message is clear. I am superior. You are inferior. This attitude doesn't arise by chance. It's the product of a narcissistic mindset that needs to feel better than everyone else to bolster their fragile self-esteem. Recognizing this type of manipulation is crucial, because victims often tend to justify or minimize these behaviors. Yet every time a narcissist belittles someone or engages in this subtle form of contempt, they are feeding their toxic ego and undermining others' trust. Think about times you've felt this subtle superiority and ask yourself, how did it affect you? If you'd like, you can share your experience in the comments. Each experience can help others recognize these subtle and dangerous dynamics. The third sign: veiled criticism and apparent sarcasm. There are comments that seem harmless on the surface, but leave a strange feeling of unease, as if something isn't right. Narcissists often use sarcasm or veiled criticism, especially in everyday situations like the supermarket. For example, they might make ironic comments about another person's choice of product, or address the staff with subtle but venomous quips. This type of passive-aggressive communication is one of the manipulative narcissists' favorite weapons. They never fully expose themselves, so they can deny or ridicule others' reactions, but the message still gets through and leaves an impression. Even a simple observation about the type of tuna someone chooses, or a sarcastic comment about a cashier's slowness, can conceal a much deeper contempt. It's often easy to laugh politely at biting or sarcastic comments without immediately realizing they're being manipulated subtly. If you like, share in the comments if you've experienced similar situations, or if you felt uncomfortable without immediately understanding why. Giving voice to these feelings can help you and your listeners stop underestimating these signals. The fourth sign: intolerance towards rules and control. At the supermarket, the rules are simple. Respect the line, wait your turn, and interact courteously. But the narcissist struggles to accept even the smallest limitations. Any form of external control is experienced as a personal affront. This is why they may appear irritated if they have to wait too long, or if a cashier asks them to follow a specific procedure. It's not so much the fact itself that triggers their reaction, but the feeling of being on par with others, of having to submit to a rule that applies to everyone. At that moment, the narcissist, accustomed to feeling superior, goes into defensive mode and tries to re-establish their position of power through looks, comments, or challenging behavior. Think about how many times you've seen people lose their temper over trivial matters, or treat people with condescension who are simply doing their job. It's not just rudeness. Sometimes there's something much deeper behind it. If you'd like, share in the comments if you've witnessed similar situations, or if you've sensed this impatience even in small gestures. The fifth sign: sudden changes in mood and overreactions. In a quiet environment, like a supermarket, a narcissist can go from seemingly calm to outbursts of anger or frustration in a matter of seconds. All it takes is a trivial detail, a wrong price, an excessive wait, a misunderstanding with a clerk. Their reaction is never proportionate to the situation. The narcissist experiences every small obstacle as a personal insult, an attack on their sense of superiority. And it is precisely in these moments that they show their most authentic side: anger, contempt, impatience, all to reaffirm their control and their image as a special person who doesn't have to submit to the same rules as others. Think about it. Have you ever observed these outbursts of anger, in completely normal situations? If you like, share an episode that struck you in the comments. Your experience can help others recognize these signals and stop being confused or manipulated. But before I reveal the next signs, let me thank you for making it this far. Not everyone can stop, listen, and open their eyes to such subtle yet dangerous dynamics. Here on Spiritual Transformation, you're never alone. Every step toward awareness is a step toward your inner freedom. If you'd like to support the channel, you can leave a huge thank you. But above all, you can share this video with anyone you think needs to hear these words. Never underestimate the power of the right message at the right time. It could change someone's life. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss future videos. And let's continue. The sixth sign: invasiveness and violation of personal space. The narcissist lacks respect for other people's space. At the supermarket, he may get too close, touch you without permission, or invade your space without you realizing it. These gestures aren't random. They're ways to assert power, make you uncomfortable, and test your boundaries. Sometimes, all it takes is one step too many, an unwanted touch, or a persistent glance to generate subtle but real discomfort. How do you feel when someone invades your space for no reason? If you like, share similar experiences in the comments. Voicing these feelings helps you recognize them and defend yourself. The seventh sign: seduction or excessive self-contracted kindness. On the surface, they may seem like the most affable and friendly person in the supermarket. In fact, the narcissist can be incredibly charming when it suits them. A dazzling smile, a kind joke, help offered without being asked. But beware, this kindness is never disinterested. The narcissist uses seduction or excessive availability as a strategy to get something. Maybe they want special treatment at the checkout, a small favor, or simply to feel appreciated and validated. Behind that accommodating behavior lies a precise calculation to gain attention, gratification, or a benefit. What do you think of those people who are excessively kind or helpful for no real reason? Have you ever felt like something else was hiding behind a perfect smile? If you'd like, share your thoughts on these attitudes and how you've experienced them in the comments. The eighth signal: victimity and self-pity. There's another subtle strategy the narcissist can employ even at the supermarket: victimization. They don't always choose to dominate by displaying superiority or seduction. Sometimes they prefer to put themselves in the victim's shoes, telling stories of injustices suffered or complaining about small, daily inconveniences. This self-pity serves to manipulate others' perceptions, to gain empathy, or to divert attention from their own responsibilities. They may complain about an excessive price, the treatment they received, or simply display fatigue and discomfort, all with a specific purpose: to gain attention, understanding, or an advantage. Think about how many times you've seen someone complain for no real reason, capitalizing on others' compassion. What thoughts does this attitude evoke in you? If you like, share in the comments if you've ever witnessed similar scenes and how they made you feel. And ninth signal: subtle power games. Another invisible but common dynamic in narcissistic behavior is the constant need to exert control through small power games. Even in a simple place like the supermarket, the narcissist always tries to have the last word, to direct or dominate the situation. This can happen when arguing over product choices, when suggesting what to buy, or when trying to impose himself on staff. It's never just words. It's the need to feel superior, to dictate the rules, and never accept a real confrontation on equal terms. These are gestures that often go unnoticed, but which, if repeated, can create a climate of tension or awe. Think about it. Have you ever witnessed these subtle dynamics? How did they affect you? If you like, share it in the comments. Every share can help other people recognize and expose this type of manipulation. The 10th sign: sense of discomfort or energy fatigue. Sometimes it doesn't take words or dramatic gestures to sense a narcissist's toxic presence. The feeling they leave behind is enough. After interacting with them, many people feel inexplicably drained, uncomfortable, and unexplainedly tired. This energetic exhaustion is the result of subtle manipulation, microaggressions, and psychological games that drain emotional energy even if we don't immediately realize it. Have you ever walked away from a simple, everyday situation, like grocery shopping, and felt more drained than before? Try to think about it. What dynamic might have drained your energy? If you'd like, share it in the comments. Your experience could give voice to those who are still unable to recognize these hidden signs. Now that you are aware of these 10 hidden signs, you can start to look at them with fresh eyes. Remember, recognizing is the first step to defending yourself. Don't let a narcissist continue to manipulate your life, even in the simplest gestures. If you want to delve deeper and find concrete tools to escape these dynamics, subscribe to the channel and join Chosen One's awakening. Every step towards awareness is a step towards inner freedom. Warm regards, and see you soon.